Hi guys, it's David from mdbootstrap.com, and today we're gonna learn how to build your first website with MDB. So let's start. First thing we're gonna do is to visit www.mdbootstrap.com website in order to get MDB framework. So let's open this website, then we click download. So the zip file is being downloaded. Let's open that file and let's extract it to some folder. I just created the tutorial folder, so I'm gonna place all the files inside that folder and close the zip file. So now we have our framework ready. Um, what we need now is some kind of text editor. There are plenty of them. I have few favorites. Basically, you can use either normal Windows or MacBook Notepad. You can also use Notepad++. I also really like brackets, but for today, I'm gonna use the Sublime, which you can get for free. Um, for the sake of this tutorial, for the sake of learning how to build website, it's fine to use it for free. However, please keep in mind that if you want to use it continuously, you should get the license. So basically you should buy it because this is really awesome product and I'm gonna like it a lot. So uh, what we have here after downloading the MDB package, you can see few folders with certain files in it. We're not gonna go into details, but basically what's the most interesting for us right now is the index.html file, which comes with the package. So let's open that file and let's have a quick look at what is in it. I'm not gonna cover those few first lines because you can find it in any HTML course. Let's just have a look at this 4 or actually 8 lines. Um, and let's just quickly go through and explain what they are doing. So the first one, this is the hyperlink to include to download, to give the information to your web browser to download the material design icons from the external server. The same way we taught the browser to download the font awesome from MaxCDN server. So one thing which you should remember, or what you should notice about it, is this is the way of including the external resources, external style sheets from the external server. So that means that these files, they are not laying on your hard drive, they are somewhere in the cloud. And just one more thing, if you don't know what the style sheet is, don't worry for now, we will get there. Let's just focus. For now, let's just continue and you will get more familiar along the course. So the next slide is telling the browser to include the Bootstrap core style sheet files. So the Bootstrap, this is the framework from Twitter, which we use as our core, as our grid. And the last style sheet which we do include in this tutorial is MDB. So basically this is the set of styles which gives your project the material design style, material design flavor. So that's it for head section. Then you can see that there is a body section which we open, and this is basically the most interesting part for us for this tutorial. We're gonna do our development between this opening and closing body tag, but let's just have a look at what is there at the bottom. So as you can see here, we also include certain JavaScript files. And these are jQuery, Bootstrap again, and MDB custom JavaScript. We're not gonna go into details um, in this tutorial, but probably in one of the next video you will get to know what exactly is in it and what those files are doing, what they are responsible for. So now let's get start with our development. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna follow one of the first tutorial which you can find on our website mdbootstrap.com. So once you open the website and set up your development environment, let's click on the tutorials from the side menu, and then uh, as you can see, there are a few tutorials already here, but probably by the time when you watch this video, there will be much more than that, because there are a few more comings. Let me just briefly tell you that we are just working on other tutorials like WordPress as well as Angular. So I suggest to bookmark this web page. It will be really useful. But for now, let's continue to the first tutorial, which is basic construction, sections, Bootstrap grip, and MDB components. So let's click on the link, and step one we just did. Let's have a quick view on the final result. So on what we will try to achieve in this tutorial. So here you have, that's what you will achieve. That's the website which we're gonna build in a couple of minutes. So let's continue. The step two, this might be a little bit confusing, but because we already mentioned something about headers and body section, and now you see again the header and main and footer, but please do not be confused, and let me just copy and paste the code inside the body section. So as you can see, there is slight difference, because before we discuss the head element, while now we put the header, which is something different. We'll come to that in a few minutes, but just remember that you shouldn't confuse the head, which is typical HTML part, with the header, which is kind of specific for our project. So once we have that, it's also probably the good time to mention about one of the features from Sublime. So what you there is an opportunity to install an external plugins. One of the plugin is allows you to style your code. So what you will see very soon, that sometimes when you type some code or you paste some snippets from internet, the code is getting like ugly, because some of the tags are going deeper, some of them are staying in the front of the line. So what you can do with the one click, you can just simply click Beautify HTML, and Sublime will basically style your code on your behalf, which is really useful, especially in when you do a lot of development. But you will see that for sure as soon as you will start developing. So let's go straight to the point three. So what we're gonna do, the first step, actually the third step, but the first real development step from our side is gonna be placing the navbar into our website. So we have a code ready over here, which you can download. Just one remark, that you can either get the code from the tutorial, or as you can see on the left side, there is a navbar with different components. So if we go to, let's say, okay, navbar, we open this in the new tab. You can see that there are plenty of components which you can basically copy and paste in the same way as we just did um, to your website. So that doesn't really matter for now whether you copy the code from the documentation, but it's just to let you know that you don't have to limit yourself to only the code which was given in the tutorial. You can play around with other components from our framework. So let's copy this code. Just keep note that I also put the copied the header tag, so I need to make sure that I'm not gonna paste it twice. So I'm gonna paste it and beautify my code and save it. And let's see how does it look like in the browser. So double click and here it is, right? So this is our brand new website which already have first component, which is navbar. Okay, let's go to the next point. So now within the main page, we will add some content. And by the way, that will explain us what the grid system, what the famous Bootstrap grid system is. So let's just paste this code. And again, I'm just making sure that I'm not gonna double the main tags. So there is only one opening and one closing. So I'm just gonna quickly beautify my code. So what the famous grid system is about. So as you maybe know or maybe heard about it, the Bootstrap to change the way the new websites are developed. So in the past, most of the website used to have two different versions. One was the typical desktop version, while the other one was designed especially for mobile. Uh, this is not the case anymore. Today, you can develop your website in the way that it will be responsive, meaning that it will automatically adjust to the screen resolution or screen size which you use. So let's just have a look at the example of our website. So as you can see, currently we have the website on the full desktop resolution looks like that. But if I'm gonna change the size of the window and make it smaller to simulate the tablet, for example, first of all, everything gets smaller. And after a certain point, as you can see, the grid has changed. So the panel which was on the right side, this one has just disappeared, right? So the web page is basically adjusting to the size of the window. And if we're gonna make it smaller, you will notice that the sidebar also got disappeared, right? Because on the mobile we don't have that much place, so it's just handy to hide it. With of course with the option to open it. And by the way, this is the good moment to also show you that the navbar which we used, which we just added to our first website, is also responsive, meaning that if we change the screen, it will adjust and change the layout to be the most user-friendly for all mobile users. So coming back to our grid, this is actually possible thanks to the grid system. So how does it work? Basically, let's have a look at this example, or actually let's have a look at our code first and quickly go through. So what we can see here, we have one container which will keep our data, which will basically keep our data inside, right? So as you can see, this is the opening tag, and this one highlighted one is closing, and everything, the whole content will be in between. Then we have a row which we use to separate the different columns. So if we look at the example, this is our row, and inside the row, in this particular example, we have two columns, right? 1 and 2. And the other example shows the 3 columns. As you might see, there is a correlation between the class name which we are adding to our column and the size of the column, right? So here we have 2 columns with the size 6, while here we have 3 columns with the size, each has a size of 4, sorry. What does it mean in practice? Well, that particular case means that the column on the medium-sized devices, which are tablets, will be displayed next to each other. However, as soon as we change the size of our screen to something smaller than medium, the columns will change the order, and they will place one under the other, right? And the same applies to other examples. So for example, this one, right? 3. When we change the screen, it will just go one below the other. And that's how we make the content more readable for our mobile users. We're not gonna focus on that much more. You can play with it, and you can find a lot of tutorials in the internet how to use. I suggest you to play with it and try different setups, like you can see on the picture here, right? So you can the only rule, or the most important rule which you have to follow, is that those columns should always sum up to 12, right? So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 12. Here we have 8 plus 4, which also gives 12. 3 times 4, it's also 12. So keep in mind that you should always sum to 12. So coming back to our code, as you probably already see, we have created 2 rows, 1 and 2, while when the first row will have 2 columns with the same size, 6 each, and the second row has 3 columns, 4 with each of them. So let's continue and let's fill our grid with some content. So let's copy paste the piece of code which will place the picture inside the first column, inside the first row. So the first column, I'm gonna replace it, and I'm gonna beautify, and let's see what it does. So this is our website. I'm gonna refresh it, and here it is. Oops, there is something wrong. We have a main which shouldn't be there. So let's try to identify it. Oh, here it is. So yeah, somehow we lost text. Let's save it and refresh, and now it's gone. Now it's fine. Okay, so now let's have a look at something else. I'm gonna press F12. I'm using the Chrome web browser. So F12 gives you this really nice tool for developers, so you can basically identify what is it in the website. You can inspect your code. So if you click this icon, it will highlight the piece of code which these elements use. So if you can see here, it's actually it's working both way. So we can either hover over the element, or we can hover the HTML code, and it will show where is it placed on the screen. So for example, if I hover the image, this one is showing where the image lies, which is really useful, and probably you're gonna use that tool more often. What I wanted to show you is that if you highlight the first row, you see where our columns are, right? So the row is highlighted, and the left column is filled with the image, while the other one is still empty, right? So you can see this tiny line, which is actually a line because there is nothing in it, and the height is like 1 pixel. You can see it here, right? It says that the div called MD6 has 485 pixels of width and 1 pixel of height. So that's why it looks like a line. So let's um, let's fill the second column with some content. So I'm gonna copy and paste it as a second column and beautify again, save it and refresh. I'm gonna close the console for a second and voila. So now we just filled the second column of the first row. What you can see here is that we just put the another component from MDB, which is the button with these Google Wave effect if you click on it. And again, remember that you can either follow the tutorial or you can just browse our components and just play with them, trying to place them into your website into different pages. So that's it. That's it for as far as the first row is concerned. And now let's go to the second row. So let's copy the entire page and then we will analyze what's in it. So I'm going to replace this placeholder with the second row. By the way, for all of you guys who are just starting your HTML development for the first time, this gray part, these are comments. So it's really wise to keep them in your code, because when the code gets bigger and bigger and you have more and more tags, it's really handy to know whether this div where is it closing, right? Or if you let me paste it here to give you an example. So if you have more divs, and for example you want to know which this closing tag is referring to, it's really useful when you have this kind of comment, so you know that this one is closing corresponding opening tag, right? So here we have a comment saying that this div, the div below that comment, is the image card, and this is the closing one. Okay, but now let's just save it and refresh our website. What you can see here is that we have just added another component, which is the card, 3 times into our website. The card, yet another component from our MDB framework. There are plenty of them, so if you go to components and cards, you can see that there are plenty of them, so you can choose from the basic card without image, through the image card which we just use, and many other components which are just ready to use for you. So let's get back to our code and let's just quickly have a look at that. So what we just did, we have filled the second row, right? So here is the place where when the second row is starting. We already before we split it into 3 columns. So this is the first column, and then we put the code of the image card, right? And now let's assume that we want to adjust our web page. We have let's say this is our personal blog web page. So what we want to do, we want to change this title, and we want to put our first blog post title. So we're gonna search for the for this piece of code. So this is our first card, which is here, first column, and here is the title. So I'm gonna just change it to my first post title. And I'm also gonna replace the basic text with some interesting quotation and probably some more text just to show you how does it work. Save it and refresh, and you can see that the content of the web page has just changed. So that's how can you adjust also the other elements. I didn't mention that before, but of course you can adjust each and every piece of the website, including the images. So let's get back. To our tutorial, and we're gonna be heading the last step, which is tutorial. Which is footer, of course. So the footer is yet another component which comes with MDB framework, and it's free to use. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna copy the predefined code and we'll just slightly adjust it to give you an example on how to do that. So coming back to our code, we have a footer placeholder. So we're gonna replace that with our code. And I'll just quickly beautify that. So let's just start from how does this look like. So here it is. This is our footer content, right? So this is the best place to put like the copyright information, some hyperlink, some extra links. Just to give you an example, this is how our web page footer looks like. So all the most important links are here, some Facebook or actually social media buttons, which you can also find, by the way, in our framework. So a lot of all those informations which are usually useful for the end users. So here it is. Here is some sample footer content. Here is some sample text, which you should probably replace with the some information about you or your company or your website, and replace the links. So let's just do it right now. So if we go to the footer part, let's just change the footer content to about us, and then we will say that what can I say? Let's say that we are a group of motivated web developers, and we love making beautiful websites. And then let's just update one of the links. So let's say that we want to give the user a hyperlink to google.com. So we're gonna replace one of those with http://www.google.com. Save it, refresh, and here it is, right? So we just adjust it. Now, I think that's it for now. Just one more tip is that, as you can see, this is slightly different from what we've seen here, right? Here, everything is reddish, right? So both navbar and footer are red. There is also another difference is that in our case, there is no space here, right? So if you compare these two web pages here, it's all the entire content starts from there is the margin from left and the right side. Well, in our case, there is none, but we're gonna learn how to do it in the next lesson. And regarding the colors, you can find it. You can basically find it both in our tutorial as well as in our documentation. So if you go to components and then the navbars, you will find the exact information about the how to change the colors of the navbar. Okay, guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe our channel because there will be more tutorial coming. Don't forget to bookmark our tutorial webpage because there will be definitely more tutorial comings, and most probably there will be more text tutorial than the video ones. So yeah, if you want to learn how to develop the websites, uh, I've, I just encourage you to follow our tutorials. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Hi, bye bye.